Hi guys, welcome to Scholars, your one-stop solution for IAS preparation. Myself Biswajyoti Datta, your faculty for geography. So in the last class we had begun with our series of NCERT of class 6 where we have talked about the earth and other different celestial bodies. Moving on, in our lecture number 2 of your class 6 NCERT, we are going to talk about what is longitude and what is latitude. Hi guys, so today we are continuing with the next topic of our NCERT geography class 6, which is your lecture number 2, right? And as you can see, today we are going to basically understand what are your latitudes and what are your longitudes, right? Now, in order to understand your latitudes and longitudes, we also have to understand a globe, right? Now, in this diagram, if you notice, it is a globe, right? Now, a globe is considered to be a true model of the earth, right? So, a globe can be of different sizes. It can be large, it can be small, right? And on the globe, what do we have? We have the presence of the countries. It showcases the continents, it shows your oceans, etc., right? Now, if I have to talk about the globe, right? So what is the first point here? You will notice that a needle is fixed through the globe in a tilted manner. So these are the needles, right? These are the needles. So what is the point stating? You will notice that a needle is fixed through the globe in a tilted manner, which is called as its axis. So this line that you see here, it is called as the axis. Now, if you go to the previous slide, what is the first point? A globe is a true model of the earth, meaning it is showcasing the proper existence or the proper representation of the earth, right? So, if I have to talk about the earth, right? So, the earth will have its axis. Now, always remember that the axis of the earth is not perpendicular. It is not perpendicular, rather it is tilted, right? So it is tilted as shown in the globe here, right? So this line is called as the axis, which is tilted, and these 2 points that you see here on the surface of the earth, what are they called? 2 points on the globe through which the needle passes are the 2 poles. This means this is the north pole and this is the south pole. Understood? So this here is the north pole and here we have the south pole, right? So this axis of the earth, very important, it is tilted, right? Now if this is the line which is dividing the earth into 2 equal halves, right? If this is a line which is dividing the earth into 2 equal halves, now what is the degree? What is the degree between this line which is dividing the earth into 2 equal halves and the axis? The degree here is your 23.5 degree or 23.5 degree. Very important. So this is the tilt of the axis. So what is the tilt of the axis? It is your 23.5 degree. Understood? Very important. Fine. So what have we understood as of now? We have understood that the axis of the earth is tilted and its angle is 23.5 degree from the imaginary line which is dividing the earth into 2 equal halves, right? And these two and the axis, right? And the point where the axis meets on the surface of the earth, they are called as your north pole and your south pole, right? Very important. Then next point is also important. Another imaginary line running on the globe divides it into 2 equal parts. Let us understand this, right? So what have we understood? This is the axis, this is the north pole, this is the south pole, right? So it says that there is another imaginary line which is running on the globe that is dividing it into 2 equal parts. So there is a line in this manner which is dividing the earth into 2 equal halves, and this line is called as the equator. Understood? So another imaginary line running on the globe divides it into 2 equal parts, and this line is known as the equator. The northern half of the earth is called as the northern hemisphere and the southern half is called as the southern hemisphere, right? So this portion that you see here which is present to the north of the equator, the one which is present to the north of the equator, this portion is called as the northern hemisphere, and the portion of the earth which is found to the south of the equator, right? See, this imaginary line is called as the equator, right? To the north we have the northern hemisphere, and to the south, this portion that you see here, it is called as the southern hemisphere. Fine, understood. So what have we understood? We have understood the axis of the earth, which is 23.5 degree from the imaginary line, dividing the earth into two equal halves, right and left. Then we have understood the north pole and the south pole, and then we have understood the equator, and then we have understood northern hemisphere, and then we have understood your southern hemisphere, right? Okay, then what's the next point? All the parallel circles, all right, from the equator up to the poles, they are called as your parallels or your latitudes, right? Now what are these latitudes? Now if you look into this diagram here, we have understood the equator, right? Equator is dividing the earth into two equal halves, northern hemisphere and your southern hemisphere, right? Always remember that the equator, as it is dividing the earth into two equal halves, it is considered to be a 0 degree parallel, or it is a 0 degree latitude. Now the question is, what are your latitudes? So all the parallel circles from the equator up to the poles. So these circles that you see here, these are nothing but your parallel lines, or it can be considered as a parallel circles. These are called as what? These are called as your latitudes, or they are called as your parallels, right? So all the parallel circles from the equator up to the poles, right? So these circles that you see here, as we are moving north of the equator as well as south of the equator, they are called as your latitudes or parallels, right? The equator represents the 0 degree latitude. So of course at the poles what we will have? The north pole will be 90 degree, and the south pole, which is present here, it will be 90 degree, right? Since the north pole is present in the north, it is called as your, or it is located at your 90 degree north. This is how we write it. And the south pole we write it as 90 degree south. Understood this? Fine. Then your 90 degree north latitude marks the north pole, and the 90 degree south latitude marks the south pole. Understood? Fine. As such, all the parallels north of the equator are called as your north latitudes. Similarly, all the parallels or the latitudes which are present to the south of the equator, they are called as your south latitudes, right? See, this is the equator, 0 degree. So all the latitudes means all the parallel circles, right? These are called as your north latitudes because they are found to the north of the equator, and all the latitudes which are found in the southern hemisphere, they are called as your southern latitudes or parallels. Fine, understood? Next point is very, very important. As we are moving away from the equator, the size of the parallels of the latitude starts to decrease, right? So as we are moving away from the equator towards the poles, what is happening? Your circles, the size of the circle is decreasing, right? For example, this 20 degree, this is 40 degree, this is 60 degree, then 80 degree, and then we have the 90 degree, right? So as we are moving from 0 to 20 to 40 to 60 to 90, what is happening? If you look into the circles here, right, the length of the circle, is it decreasing or not? So this is what the point states. As we move away from the equator towards the poles, the size of the parallels of the latitude starts to decrease. Understood? So the circumference of the parallels starts to decrease, right? So which is the largest parallel? Therefore your correct answer will be equator. Equator is considered to be the largest parallel or the largest latitude, right? So as of now, what have we understood? Your 0 degree latitude is the equator. Then we have your 90 degree north, which is your north pole, right? Then we have your 90 degree south, which is your south pole, right? So this is 0 degree, here we have 90 degree, and here we have 90 degree, right? This is 90 degree north, this is 90 degree south. So in between 0 degree and 90 degree north, and in between 0 degree and 90 degree south, there are other very, very important latitudes that we have to know. right? So we have many latitudes, right? Because we'll have 1 degree latitude, 2 degree latitude, moving on, then 60, 40, then we can have 89, and then we can have 90 degree latitudes, right? But there are some important latitudes that you have to understand, right? So besides the equator, the North Pole and the South Pole, there are 4 other important, very, very important. There are 4 important parallel latitudes, or there are latitudes. For example, we have the Tropic of Cancer, we have the Tropic of Capricorn, we have the Arctic Circle, and then we have the Antarctic Circle, right? So what is this Tropic of Cancer? The Tropic of Cancer is found in the northern hemisphere, meaning it is found to the north of the equator, right? And where it is found? It is found in your 23.5 degree latitude north. Very, very important. Then we have Tropic of Capricorn in the southern hemisphere, meaning it is found to the south of the equator, and where it is found? It is found around your 23.5 degree south. Very, very important. Tropic of Cancer, 23.5 degree north. Tropic of Capricorn, 23.5 degrees south, right? Then we have the Arctic Circle, which is found in your 66.5 degree north, right? So this is where we have the Arctic Circle, 66.5 degree north, and then we have the Antarctic Circle in the southern hemisphere, which is located in your 66.5 degree south, right? Understood the important latitudes? Okay, let me draw it again for your better understanding. 0 degree equator, right? Then this is 90 degree north, this is 90 degrees south, right? So here we have 2 important latitudes, and here we have 2 important latitudes. Here we have 23.5 degree north, which is called as the Tropic of Cancer, right? Here we have the 66.5 degree north, which is called as your Arctic Circle, right? Then here we have your 23.5 degree south, which is called as your Tropic of Capricorn, right? And here we have your 66.5 degree south latitude, which is called as your Antarctic Circle, right? Very, very important. Please try to remember all the names of these latitudes, right? Now there is a concept which is associated with the latitudes, which are called as your heat zones of the earth, right? Now what are these heat zones? Let us understand. The midday sun is exactly overhead at least once a year on all the latitudes between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. Very, very important point. Very, very important point. What is it saying? The sun will be overhead. The sun will be overhead at all the latitudes. Okay, it will be overhead at all the latitudes which are present between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. Meaning what? Meaning if this is the earth, this is 0 degree. Here we have the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, which is 23.5 degree north and 23.5 degree south, right? So this point states that all the latitudes which are found here, in all the latitudes which are found here, at one point of time, the sun will be perpendicular to that latitude. The sun can be perpendicular at 0 degree latitude, it can be perpendicular at 1 degree, it can be perpendicular at 14 degrees, right? So all the latitudes which are found between your 0 degree to 23.5 degree latitude north and south, meaning all the latitudes between your Tropic of Cancer and your Tropic of Capricorn, the sun will be at least once a year, it will be perpendicular to that latitude. Beyond Tropic of Cancer and beyond Tropic of Capricorn, what happens? The sun is never perpendicular. The sun will always be present obliquely. It will be present obliquely. Very, very important. Understood? So it is only between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn that the sun will be perpendicular. Beyond the Tropic of Cancer and beyond the Tropic of Capricorn, the latitudes which are present, the sun will never ever be perpendicular to it, but rather it will be in a obliquely, or rather it will be in a slanting format. Understood this? Now why it happens, or why so it happens, we will understand in the in your higher classes. Okay, now you do not have to understand this, but for the time being you just understand the fact that the latitudes where the sun is perpendicular will only be present between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. Beyond this, the latitudes will see sunlight, but it will fall upon them obliquely. Very, very important, right? And this area therefore receives the maximum heat. Why the maximum heat? Because the sun rays are perpendicular here, and therefore this area is called as the torrid zone. Very important, right? So all these latitudes, so this total area that you see here between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, it is called as what? It is called as the torrid zone. Very important. All right, then what is the next one? The angle of the sun rays goes on decreasing towards the poles, right? As such, the area which is bounded by the Tropic of Cancer and the Arctic Circle in the northern hemisphere and the Tropic of Capricorn and the Antarctic Circle in the southern hemisphere have moderate temperatures, and therefore these are called as your temperate zones. Now what are the temperate zones? Let us understand this, right? So if this is the circle, this is the earth, here we have the equator, here we have the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, 23.5 degree, right? So here what do we have? We have the Arctic Circle, 66.5 degree north, and here we have the Antarctic Circle, 66.5 degree south, right? So this area, these two area which is present between the Tropic of Cancer and the Arctic Circle, and the one which is present between your Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn and the Antarctic Circle, these two areas, they are called as what? They are called as your temperate zones. Temperate zones. And in this zone that is found between your Tropic of Cancer and the Arctic Circle and your Tropic of Capricorn and the Antarctic Circle, here the temperatures will be moderate. Now why the temperatures will be moderate here? Because the sun's rays, in this case the sun rays are oblique or slanted, right? Because it is perpendicular where? It is only perpendicular in the torrid zone, if you remember, right? Which is where? Which is found between your Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, right? So as we move beyond the Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn, the sun's rays will be oblique, your temperatures will be moderate, and these areas are called as your temperate zones, right? Then beyond 66.5 degree north and beyond 66.5 degree south, what we will see? Areas lying between the Arctic Circle and the North Pole, which is your 90 degree north, that is from 66 to 90 degree in the northern hemisphere, and the Antarctic Circle, that is your 66.5 degrees south to the South Pole in the southern hemisphere, they are very cold, right? It is because here the sun does not rise much above the horizon, and therefore its rays are always slanting and provides less heat, and they are called as your frigid zones. Very important. So how many zones do we have? Firstly, we have the torrid zone between the Tropic of Cancer and the Capricorn. After the torrid zone, what did we had? We had your temperate zone, right? So in the temperate zone, where it is in the temperate zone, we will be having moderate temperatures, right? And the temperate zone is found where? It is found between your Tropic of Cancer and the Arctic Circle and your Tropic of Capricorn and the Antarctic Circle, right? And finally, we will have the frigid zone, which is found beyond your 66 degree latitude north and south, right? Where the temperatures are very cold, right? So as we move from torrid to temperate zone, what happens? Your temperature starts to decrease, right? So this is about your latitude and the concept of heat zone, right? Moving on, let us understand what is your longitude. Now in case of your latitude, what did we understand? Here we had the equator, and we basically talked about places which is found to the north and south of the equator, right? So this is what is about your latitudes. But then what is your longitude talking about? Your longitude basically talks about your west and east, right? Latitudes are talking about your north and south, whereas your longitude talks about your east and west. Basically there will be a reference point somewhere here, right? So basically it talks about angular distance between two places, which is to the east or to the west, from a reference point or a reference line, right? So this angular distance between these places from this reference point that you see here, these are called as your longitudes, right? Understood? So your latitude talks about north and south, your longitude talks about your east and west from a particular reference line or a point. Understood this? Right. So what is the first point? In order to locate them precisely, we must find out how far east or west these places are from a given line of reference running from North Pole to the South Pole, right? So this reference point or a line that I am talking about, it runs from North Pole to your south pole, right? And these lines that you see here, which is running from your north pole to your south pole, these are called as your longitudes, or rather they are called as your meridians of longitude, and the distance between them are measured in degrees, right? So the distance between these two longitude, for an example, they are measured in terms of your degrees, right? This is how a degree is written. Understood? And each degree can be further divided into your minutes. It can be, and the minutes on the other hand can be divided into seconds, right? And they are semicircles, and the distance between them decreases steadily polewards until it becomes 0 at the poles. Now what is this point saying? Now suppose these are the two longitudes, right? If these are the two longitudes, now if you look into this diagram carefully, what happens? These are semicircle in nature, and the distance between them decreases steadily polewards, meaning the distance here will be more, and as we are moving towards the pole, what happens? The distance between these two longitudes starts to decrease. Understood this? And it becomes 0 where? It becomes 0 at the north pole and the south pole. Why? Because at the north pole and the south pole, your longitudes will converge, right? Your longitude converges. So the distance between two longitudes starts to decrease as we move towards the poles. Understood? Because at the poles, what happens? All the meridians basically referring to your longitudes, right? So at the poles, your longitudes or the meridians starts to meet or converge, right? Now we have to number the longitudes, right? For an example, we have given the equator to be 0 degree, your north pole to be 90 degree, Tropic of Cancer to be 23.5 degrees. Similarly, we also have to name the longitudes, right? So for that, we need a reference longitude, right? So hence, all the countries decided that the count should begin from the meridian which is passing through your Greenwich, which is a place near London, and this is where the British Royal Observatory is located. So this meridian is called as the prime meridian, right? So the meridian which is passing through your Greenwich, it is called as your prime meridian. Like the equator was given the term 0 degree, your prime meridian is given the value of 0 degree longitude, right? And from it we count 180 degree to the east or your 180 degree to the west, right? So this is the prime meridian passing through the Greenwich, right? And this is considered to be your 0 degree. From 0 degree, we can either move to the east or we can move to the west up to 180 degree here and 180 degree here, completing 360 degrees, right? So this is about your longitude. Now we have to understand the relationship that exists between your longitude and time. The best means of measuring time is by the movement of the earth and the moon and the planets. The sun regularly rises and sets every day, and naturally it is the best timekeeper throughout the world, right? So very important to understand, longitude and time are correlated to each other. Now we shall understand this, right? So when the prime meridian of the Greenwich has the sun at its highest point in the sky, all the places along this meridian will have midday or noon, right? So if what is this point saying? When the prime meridian of Greenwich has the sun at its highest point, right? So if in this longitude the sun is perpendicular, meaning all the places which are located along the prime meridian, what will happen? It will have the same time. Understood? So time is a function of longitude. Very important. Time is not a function of latitude, but it's a function of longitude, right? So when the prime meridian of Greenwich has the sun at its highest point, meaning perpendicular, all the places along this meridian, right, all the places irrespective of the latitude, it will have what time? It will have 12 p.m. when the sun is perpendicular to it. So as the earth rotates from your west to east, those places east of the Greenwich will be ahead of the Greenwich time, and those to the west will be behind it, right? Now what is this point saying? Very important. This is the 0 degree longitude, right? So the earth is rotating from your west to east. Your earth is rotating from your west to east, right? So the east, or the places which are found to the east of your 0 degree, they will see sunrise faster or earlier compared to the places which is found to the west of the prime meridian, right? Because as the sun is, or sorry, as the earth is rotating from your west towards your east, what basically happens? The places to the east of your prime meridian, it will see sunrise earlier. Understood this? Therefore, what can we say? All the places which are found to the east, all the places which are found to the east of the Greenwich will be ahead, and the places which is found to the west will be behind. Meaning what? If for an example, right? So if this is your 0 degree, meaning suppose for an example, suppose this is 12 p.m. here, right? So these places will have time which is earlier than 12 p.m. and these are the places which are to the west. What will happen? It will have your time which is little later to it. Understood this? So all the places which are found to the east will have your time which is earlier to 12 p.m. and these are the places which will have time which is behind 12 p.m. Understood this? Very, very important, right? Now, in your UPSC examinations, they give you questions on the basis of this longitude, but this will be dealt in your higher classes. But for the timing, you just have to understand that from the longitude, that is your prime meridian, if we move to the east, we will add time, and if we are moving towards the west, we will subtract the time, right? So at any place, a watch can be adjusted to 12 o'clock when the sun is at the highest, right? And that is your midday, right? And the time shown by such a watch will give the local time for that particular place. And you can see all the places of a given meridian of the longitude will have the same local time. Understood? So all the longitudes will have the same time. Very, very important. So time is a function of longitude. Very, very important, right? Now, since we are talking about your longitude, let us also talk about your standard time, right? So the local time of places which are on different meridians are bound to differ, right? So the time which is found, or the local time. Now, what is the local time? Local time can be found out when the sun is perpendicular at that particular longitude, right? So the time which is found in this latitude will of course vary with the time which is found in this longitude, right? So according to your longitude, your time will start to vary, right? So it is therefore necessary to adopt a local time of some central meridian of a country as the standard time for the country. For an example, if I consider India, right? This is just a rough diagram. Suppose this is India, right? Now India, there are different longitudes passing through it. This does not necessarily mean that the time across India will vary. So yes, in reality it varies, but it may cause a lot of confusion among the people. Therefore, what do? We have to consider a standard time for the whole of the country, right? Which we call it as the longitude 82.5 degree east. Very, very important. And this is considered to be the standard meridian for India, right? Which is called as the IST, Indian Standard Time. So the time that India has, right, it is on the basis of which longitude? It is on the basis of longitude of 82.5 degree east, right? And it is treated as the standard meridian. The local time at this meridian is taken as the standard time for the whole country, and it is known as the Indian Standard Time, right? So similarly, your other countries where through which your different longitudes will pass, but what happens to make it easier for the governance of the country, we have to consider a standard time considering one particular longitude, right? And India has considered 82.5 degree to be the standard meridian or the longitude, right? So your India is located at the Greenwich of 82.5 degree east, which is around your 5.5 hours minutes ahead of the GMT. For an example, if you look into this diagram here, right? Suppose at the prime meridian, this one, right, it is 12 p.m. right, and India is located where? It is located at the longitude of 82.5 degree east, right? So it is considered to be 5.5 hours, right? It is considered to be 5 and 30 minutes ahead of your Greenwich. So if it is 12 p.m. at your Greenwich, what will be the time in India? It will be 12 p.m. plus 5 hours and 30 minutes, 5 hours and 30 minutes. So the time in India will be how much? It will be 5 p.m. 30 minutes, that is 5.5 hours, 5 p.m. half hours, right? Similarly, if the time at Greenwich was 1 p.m., what would be the time in India? It will be 1 p.m. plus 5.5 hours, meaning it will be 6 p.m. 30 minutes in India. Understood this? So as we move towards the east from the Greenwich Mean Time, we add time, and as we are moving towards the west, we will subtract the time. Very, very important, right? Now we shall understand on how to solve these questions in your higher standards. You don't have to worry about this, right? For the time being, it is limited to only this much of discussions, right? Then there are some countries, this point is also very, very important. There are some countries which have a greater longitudinal extent. For example, if you look at Russia here, it has a huge longitudinal extent, right? Therefore, it does not consider only one standard time. Like for example, India has 82.5 degree. It will have more than one standard time, right? For an example, in Russia, there are as many as 11 standard times. Very, very important, right? Then the earth as a whole is divided into 24 time zones. Very, very important point, right? And each zone is covering around your 15 degree of longitude, because India has the world as a whole has how much of degrees? It has 360 degree, right? And it has 24 time zones. If you divide it by 24, what will be the value? It will be 15 degree. Understood? Fine. Let us deal with one or two MCQs. The Antarctic Circle is located where? Of course, it is located in your northern hemisphere, in the southern hemisphere, or the eastern hemisphere. Your Arctic Circle was located where? It was located in your 66.5 degree north. So your Antarctic is located in the southern hemisphere, right? Then the grid is a network of what? Your option 1 is parallels of latitude and meridians of longitudes. Second option is Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn, and your third option is North Pole and the South Pole. So your grid is a network of nothing but your latitudes and longitudes. Your latitude talks about your north and south location of a place, whereas your longitude talks about your east and west location of a particular place, right? Fine.
So I hope you understood today's topic of latitude and longitude, where firstly we have understood the concept of latitude and then how it is related to the different heat zones of the earth. Then moving on, we have also talked about longitude and how it is connected with the concept of time, right? So in the next class, again, we will continue with our classics NCERT, where we are going to talk about a new topic which is called as your motions of the earth, right? So stay tuned to Scholars for more such videos.